Welcome to Fast Five, where our four panelists weigh in on 5 separate topics. Let's get started. Well, Colin, I heard you laughing at the break on this one, but let's get your opinion. Scientists name a tiny moth after Donald Trump. Colin, what say you?
I think it's the biggliest tiny moth in the entire universe.
Okay.
The multiverse, as a matter of fact.
Why did they do that?
Big.
Ron, do we have any idea why they did that?
I think we're back into, there's going to, comedians and different people's going to have a field day over the next...
As they do with every presidency.
Well, but
let's face it, this guy, this guy's going to give them probably a lot more material than most.
Yeah, but...
And most presidents take it in stride, don't respond to every single slight directly.
But he will.
Maybe it's his idea of levity, to have people laugh at different things and to waste a lot of time doing something and chasing it's like the old dog chasing his tail. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see that this thing can't work out. Have a moth named after you. Shoot, I'd have been happy to have the sewer plant over on the Conicajig named after me years ago. I took enough abuse over building it.
I think you brought up a good point, Ron. Actually having a whole species named after you is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of flattering, actually.
I mean, he's going to have a lot of other names, so why not a moth?
Well, and we're not going to put him on any dollar bills here in the next foreseeable future. So, okay, U.S. strikes in Libya kill more than 80 Islamic State fighters. Ron,
B-52s. Were they out of Missouri, I think?
Were they B-52s?
Yeah, they were B-52s. The B-52s went in, dropped a couple of bombs. They took a full load, full payload, 2 of them.
Well, I got to tell you, and that's actually, and the reason I was asking, that's kind of a rare strike to actually have B-52s. I got to tell you,
they had the distance. They had to go the distance.
This is going to be a controversial statement, but I think the best weapon we have in our arsenal against terrorists are drones, because they're unseen, invisible. They're just up there, and they'll be in the middle of the desert someplace doing their Allahu Akbar stuff, and all of a sudden a Hellfire missile comes streaming down, and boom. No lives at stake, just erase that particular problem.
Erase the bad guys.
Well, that's what happened here. They had areas that they felt was where they were, and they were there.
Yep.
And those big bombs just...
Well, there's a lot of intelligence that goes into one of these strikes.
We had people on the ground. You have to have people on the ground. It's the way they did in Vietnam. They had people on the ground.
Lasing target.
Yeah,
well, now because you have the
target.
guided missiles, then you're
to
basically
send a cruise
painting it.
missile in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of intelligence, Governor Christie suggests that the reason he didn't take the Trump post is because his wife refused to move to Washington. Colin, what say you?
Well, I think that move from Trenton, New Jersey to Washington, D.C., you start missing the smell of the fumes and everything else. Who cares, honestly?
Ron?
I watched Christie. He was an ardent supporter, but then I watched the things he was involved in with Bridgegate and some of the other things. He wasn't the type of person that Trump wanted around him. Neither was Giuliani. So neither one of those two guys got any substantive I think there's a group of people that picked some darn good secretaries. I think there's some good picks in the Trump administration. So he's got some good people making the picks. Those people knew that Giuliani and Christie wasn't who they wanted in that administration. Yep. He can give them an insignificant job, and they can say that the wife wouldn't go along, and that's why I didn't take a job. Well, I'd like to know what job it is he turned down.
Right.
All right. So, Ron, while we're talking to you, a trucker lost his marbles, 38,000 pounds of marbles near Indianapolis. What's up with that?
He lost his marbles. That is one heck of a job to clean up, and to be there to see something like that. I was in a group one time that they had people that go around to your houses having parties, and they said you always stay out of somebody's bathrooms. So what they recommended was taking marbles and putting them in your medicine cabinet, that when the door opened, the marbles would go everywhere. And I could just picture that scenario, what happened with those tons of marbles on the highway.
Colin, do you remember the movie Animal House where the
Yes.
guy went in
Yeah.
and got, can I have 10,000 marbles, please?
Well, this is one of those comical situations. And of course, I feel sorry for the trucker because it most likely had some negative impacts on his job, but it is kind of an amusing situation, I think.
NYPD tech worker accused of selling officers' personal information. Colin?
So, being in a technology background, I think when you go into system design, the vast majority, there should be a very, very limited number of people who have access to that type of data. So what that tells me is that either this person was somebody who had very, very high administrative rights to the environment, or that their system design did not really take security very seriously.
Regardless, obviously that's a huge problem. Ron?
Happens too much. There's too much information given out from somebody that reads a bit of information and passes it on. That's
Well, that information should be protected and segmented.
But it's called a source. And they get it from a source. They'll never tell where they got it, and then somebody's life is ruined because of what they're trying to do. How do you protect? Look at WikiLeaks. Look at all the things at WikiLeaks. Doesn't matter who they got. You don't know who they have information on yet.
No, but again, that brings up the point that information was not properly protected to begin with. And you are able to segment information to where these types of things don't occur. The problem is
They occur less frequently.
Where they occur less frequently, and no system is perfect. NYPD is the largest police department, I believe, in the country. Because of that, I think that they have a fairly entrenched bureaucracy, and I'm not raining down on them, but what I assume happened is the fact that their systems are probably about 3 to 5 years behind the curve and may not have been deployed in the most secure, modern manner. Now, the other question is how much of that information really should be stored in a system that somebody would be able to hack?
Right.
Why should personal information regarding the officers be stored in any system other than the HR system?
But they were asking for dirt on officers as well. They were asking for compromising things on officers. You had the same thing with Russia. Does Russia have information on anybody in this country that they could compromise them?
I try to get dirt on people every day, all day, Ron, but so far it's not worked out very well. And I'm going to take the last word on that. Stay tuned because Last Call is next.